mobile games, Facebook games, online games. Games that kind of, some mobile games are a pale comparison to what they're trying to be. And then some mobile games are trying to be a game that wouldn't be created otherwise if it wasn't on a mobile platform, if it wasn't on a online game platform, Facebook game platform. Because it wouldn't be worth the time or the effort to buy, or it actually really just doesn't have the full version. It can never have a larger version than what it is of that game. Um, so I remember this game called, for example, Backyard Monster. Backyard Monster is pretty fun. I'm not going to describe the game because that'd be kind of pointless, or describe, the overall world. But basically, it was like Clash of Clans. You take, little towers, set them up around, you attack other people's bases, blah, blah, back and forth. Um, the dirtiest thing that they do with, scratch myself. They do with these games is that they make you log in every day for like a year, and you really barely even scratch the surface. And if you don't want to do that, honestly, the amount of money that you'll have to pay to upgrade to the highest level, because I know, well, about 5 years ago, or 5 years ago from 5 years ago till 10 years back from that, the general rule was from level 1 to 8. It would probably take you about 7 months, if you were relatively consistent. I mean, you were consistent like every 2 days maximum, one day minimum, something close to that. Or, you'd really put it like an extra effort in, attack bases, get resources, whatever. Nowadays, one of the problems is they still upgrade like they used to, or offer like an update where it's like, oh, now you can go to level 9, but you gotta get these resources and stuff. Um, Now they give you even more levels, even more stuff that you gotta, invest into. And not only that, there's other mobile games, there's other stuff to do, there's other. Um, Because one of the things I never really minded about mobile games was that it's not that there wasn't anything out there to play, but it, some of them were kind of unique to themselves. They were only one of themselves that could stand up to each other, and you know, say, okay, if you want to play this kind of game, you should probably play me. If you want to play, a puzzle drop and slide game, play Candy Crush or something. Candy Crush is more of an exception. I mean, there are games a lot like that, but Candy Crush is one game that kind of stood out and people would play, and so and so and so. Clash of Clans, blah blah, and other games that kind of really started off small at the time and are a lot bigger now, and actually some of them had disappeared even, but they were something kind of limited, so limited in their fields. Like they're the only ones who could really bring out the strategy element, the puzzle element, or whatever. That those were the games you played, and it was like, what I'm trying to say is like it's such a limited library in a way of those kind of games, because the only games worth playing would be, so limited library. So when you played these games, it felt like, you didn't have to, keep on deciding whether or not to do these new experiences. The new experiences are good, they're great, whatever. But when you have these new experiences that you have, when you have 86 different paths to choose from instead of 5, it divides your time, because you're not going to not explore those paths at some point. And not only that, the game's going to kind of crunch down on the people who are playing it, because they're going to say, oh, well, why don't you stick to this game? So, we want, if you want more stuff, we'll give you more stuff, but we want more money, and, so and so. or just more time. Honestly, with the amount of time that you put in, that you put in, is just it's crazy. Um. Anyways, that's probably my broadest example of the kind of game that was a mobile game that people used to play. Nowadays, well, not even nowadays. Actually, I think as of 3 years ago, this is what's been happening. Really, as of 3 years ago, we're getting a lot of more action RPGs. Square Enix is a good example of this because Square Enix is. I want to say smart, but that's really not. I don't know why, how, or why others aren't quite doing the same thing. But Square Enix is putting as many games as they can on their catalog on the mobile market, and people buying these games because Square Enix is offering something different these other guys can't. And not that they're trying to compete necessarily; they're just trying to cash in their properties. But I think Chrono Trigger is a Square Enix game, maybe. I might be wrong. Nah, I want to say Golden Sun, but I feel like that's not. But there are other games, the Final Fantasy games, even Kingdom Hearts game, other games are Square Enix. But a lot of and Nintendo's getting on the mobile market. Halo's been on Microsoft's been on the market for a while now. You got games like Minecraft. You got a couple Halo games. I play the Halo games. The Halo games are fun. Play those. Actually, I need to put that on my to-do list. Put Halo Spartan Assault, I think it's called. It's really fun. Use a lot of touchscreen controls. And I used to only use touchscreen controls if I'm thinking of the right game, which is I think Halo Spartan Assault. You put two I wish I could show you, but thumbs on each side, and it was really cool. I always like motion control games, and that was technically more touchscreen, but it really felt well. Was it? Because you said press. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. So, to make the point, mobile games are really trying to give you an experience. They've been trying to give you an experience that you want to go to mobile games for. That you want your market who's like, hey, I've been playing these games for a while now, but I'm ready for something new. And they said but they don't want you to leave, so they're trying to give you a console or PC experience. And what a lot of them are doing that are not something like Square Enix or Nintendo or Microsoft, that they already have these big games and they're porting them onto the system, to this market, and they're saying, okay, hey guys, play. You want to play. You probably played some of these versions of these games before, or maybe you haven't. This is your chance. Other mobile companies or whatever are, and some of the same. It's hard to say. I honestly want to give like a premier example, but I really can't. But they're porting older games and PC games and indie games that already exist on usually a console or PC platform, and putting them on mobile, and that's great. I think that's great because you might say, oh, well, who would buy that? People who already bought that would have bought that, and if they did want to buy it, they'd probably play it on console. To me and so many others, I think there are just games that we don't want to, even if you could. Now, and there's a 90% chance that you can. Like most of these games you can find. Most of these games you'll be able to get the console for. Maybe you already have the console. But all of this is like a lot of effort work. And also, more than that, it's putting it on your mobile device, putting it on your tablet or whatever. I have a NVIDIA Shield gaming tablet, which isn't really, I mean, it does do its job, but it doesn't, never mind. I'm sorry, I get off track today. But you want to play it on the device that's most convenient to you. If you could, and if it's not like too much of a difference from the game the game experience you would get on a console versus this device. And games like, well, there's some RPG games. I'm not sure, even naming them would have a real point. But you can now download these games for like $5, $10, and you know something? I mean, it's no one's really coughing at that. No one's really because these are games um, that are actually unlike a lot of mobile games, log-in games. Where you log in, you make some progress, blah blah, things like that. I mean, they're all not as quite as always simple or dumbified like that. I'm kind of saying in an exaggerated context, like that's all you do, and in some cases that's a little all you do, especially at least the ones that are really just the one-time hit wonders, like I don't know, Galaxy of Here. No, excuse me, take that back. I want to think of an example, but it's so obscure already that's why I can't even think of an example. Because those games are the ones that are really hit and miss, hitter, Um, Pokemon Go, it's popular, but it does something different. It does something different that you cannot get on a console or a, you know, any other experience. A PC, definitely not PC, definitely, and not handheld either. Not PS. I don't want to mention PS Vita like they're really in competition with the 3DS or anything, but PS Vita and 3DS and Game Boy, blah blah. Um, and you can play on like a big, tablet like this, or you can play on the TV if your tablet has that kind of accessibility or whatever it's called. Um, and you want to play, the best way to play possible for you at that moment and the most convenient way. Because I know, like, I'm planning, it's gonna take $25,000, but I'm planning to, get into the retro market. But one of the things I had trouble with in thinking about it was, all the systems I would have to get, and then the games, and then like, well, really, it's not all too much, really, but it can be a lengthy process, and it can be hard to find some of these, and then to get engaged in that process. Um, so yeah, mobile games are really mixing it up. I think you're getting a lot less of the login games for some for at least half the market. I think has turned to we're going away from login games. You know, and instead we're doing one of three things. We're having big companies like Nintendo, Microsoft, and Square Enix. Although Nintendo's like, well, figure it. I mean, Nintendo's gaming division is like 3 times bigger than either of those two. But um, Microsoft, Nintendo, Square Enix, coming in, dropping in ports of their games, so to speak. Or you're having, some companies port existing indie games, existing third-party games, existing etc. games, and putting them in. Then you're having companies who are trying to create their own thing, like or create their thing, have their own thing. Well, excuse me. Yeah, create. Well, I guess 4 companies. The 4 things. Excuse me. The third thing would be companies that already have pre-established games and have that revenue and blah blah, like Cash Cans, like Candy Crush. All right. So the fourth thing would be is having companies try to make their own kind of a game and putting that on mobile platform and making it so it's fun to play on mobile. Sorry, not paranoid. Never mind. Sorry, it's ants or something. But um, the fourth type of game is they're trying to like it's fun to log in, but it's fun to play on a mobile device. It's fun because it's a mobile device. Like I'm playing a game called Post Night, and you probably will hear about it. That it's really an action RPG. I like it. You can pretty play as much at a time as you want to play it in, and offers login rewards and offers daily incentives to come in. And it's kind of an adventure game too, action RPG adventure, because it allows you to really progress through the world. You know, develop weapons and relationships and bonds and different tactics and strategies, and it's really cool. Um, but it gives you kind of an incentive to play on. I mean, it only is on mobile, but it's well, excuse me, gives you an experience different than you might get on handheld, or it gives you an experience unique to mobile, where it's because it's mobile, because it's you play anywhere, because you could log in and receive these kind of benefits from logging in each day, or participating as much as possible, or always finding a reason to come back, like a new event or a raid or whatever. I don't know about any actual raid, but you know, just events like that are cool to, you know, come into. Um, and that's, you know, and then there's the other half of the mobile market where they're kind of sticking to the login process, where they're kind of, you know, coming out with like a mediocre game, or a really bad spin-off of a game, like Pokemon, not even Pokemon, Animal Monster Hunters, which look exactly like Pokemon, or Mystery Magic Princesses, who look like a bunch of Disney princesses, but they're not going to say that. And you know, just games that are trying to get popularity off of other games, and you know, they're few and far between. I mention them because they don't upset me exactly, but they're like, come on, it's too obvious. Um, and you know, so again, logging games, and then probably a third type in that other half would probably be um, um, I'd say indie developer games that really don't have much of a function other than, let's say you play like a little quiz and it's like 10 questions, that's the entire game. Or you play through a small story where you know, little clicking options of, you know, yes, no, maybe so, and it's over in like 2 hours and stuff like that. It's, you know, it's hard to really judge that, but yeah. God, I like trying to find romance and romance games to play that are more anime-ish based, and you know, found a couple games like that I just mentioned, which are like, I mean, they can be hit or misses. Yeah, so. Um, so yeah, the mobile market, it is something to be wary of. I think the mobile market does have a future, though. It definitely has a future. You know, it won't stop. I mean, people want to play games or will play games on a mobile market. It's not even a matter of they want to versus other options. It's like they have a phone, they can have games on it. It's like having a TV in your house. Even if it's an extra one, you're probably going to have something up to it at some point. You're probably going to have even just a DVD player or a VCR connected to it. Just in that one instance, you might watch or do something on it. Even if it's not your main TV, and you don't really even use it, just it might, you know, come to circumstance that you do, and you most likely will. So, you know, there's a lot of mobile games to be had out there. Um, so they are trying. Graphics are improving, and more than that, I think that the market is improving. The different options, ways to play, and game and experiences to have, and I think that, you know, that's important going forward, because it really helps all of us, um, you know, experience more gaming in different ways. So, all right, see ya. Oh, probably get an NVIDIA gaming tablet. I think it's a cool tablet to have. It's got a lot of power to it. All right, see ya.